Down. I'm Jason Gilbo, J Gilbo 11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J Clay. Taking a look at pitching on tonight's 15-game slate. Big boy here, and you got Coors games, so obviously you're going to be looking at some cheaper options. I mean, we kind of did the same thing yesterday as far as kind of really diving down and paying a little bit more attention just so you can get some hitters in.
Yeah, definitely. A bunch of different ways to go, and I'm actually leaning towards the value side for once on a big slate. So, pretty excited about this one actually.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's just kind of a different range of options. And starting with the first one here, Rangers and Yankees, CC Sabathia versus Cole Hamels. 8.5 over under, Texas minus 121 favorites. Cole Hamels, I mean, a really nice price tag on both sites for me. I mean, 10K over there on FanDuel, 11.3 on DraftKings. And I don't mind him tonight. He's not really a cash game guy for me, but I just think looking at this Yankees offense, and I mean, 26th in WOBA against righties or against lefties. They don't strike out a ton, but they're not really that great of an offense.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. Lefty versus this Yankees lineup, which is primarily left-handed. So you got to like that. And on the CC side, I'm not really targeting the Rangers like I have been the past few days against Evaldi and Nova. I think it's a little tougher matchup for them. So Mazzara, Chu, Fielder, Beltray, I think I'm taking the night off from them.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not necessarily using CC, so I'm with you. I think it just kind of washes things out for me here.
Yeah.
Next game here, you got the Mets and Nationals. Matt Harvey versus Lucas Giolito, and this is obviously going to be an enticing game for it's obviously a situation where still it's worthy of a play just because Giolito is a quality arm. I mean, the only thing that you kind of really got to worry about is how he handles that first start as far as his walk rate. Is he going to be all over the place?
I mean, we've seen Urias sort of after that first start, you really started to see that potential everyone was talking about. But in that first start, he was walking people. He was nervous, kind of all over the place. It's a huge moment for the person. So, yeah, there's definitely a big risk of that. At the same time, though, that salary for his skill level is also very promising. So I like it as a tournament, but obviously just a tournament and not touching Matt Harvey against the Nationals and the heart of that order.
No, I'm not either. And looking at Giolito, I mean, a really strong fastball, two-seam and four-seam, and a really good curveball. So he has swing and miss stuff. I mean, we've seen it in the minor leagues. His K through 9 numbers are solid. And you look at this Mets team, I mean, 23% strikeout rate against righties this year. And you look at them over the last 2 weeks, they've just been awful. 28th in WOBA. So I do think he's a viable tournament option here.
Right.
And as you mentioned, Harvey not really in play. I mean, yeah, he's super cheap on DraftKings, but there's far better guys to target in that price tier.
Definitely.
Gee, you were fed up with Matt Harvey. You're just walking by and just talking a loogie on him right now, man.
We had our sped up plan today, so I'm moving us along.
Next game here, you got the Marlins and Tigers. Adam Conley versus Mike Pelfrey. Conley, I mean, for me, too many right-handers in this lineup for me to really target against the Tigers. And Pelfrey on the other side, I mean, obviously never a guy to really use.
Yeah, Pelfrey not really in play, obviously. But yeah, Conley, most nights he's sort of like you take a look and go, okay, I can see a way. But it's tough to envision him getting through this lineup, especially the Cabrera, Martinez, Castellanos grouping. So you take a look at that. Kinsler as well. I'm not really in on him at all.
No, I think you kind of go cheap. I mean, there's a lot of guys that we'll kind of get to coming up that are cheaper than him. So
yeah.
In much better spots.
Right.
Next one here, you got the Indians and Braves. Corey Kluber versus Matt Whistler. Over under 7.5. Cleveland big favorites here, minus 175. A big price tag for Kluber at 13.4. I mean, he's far more expensive than any of the other options. The upside's obviously there for him. I mean, I know the Braves don't strike out a ton, but I mean, he still does have that 30-plus DK point upside. And obviously, FanDuel, his price tag is really enticing too.
Yeah, the only thing tonight is there are some decent lower-end options. So I think you can make a nice value pairing with him. Or, I mean, you can fade him. Obviously, the Braves aren't a world beater offense, but at the same time, I mean, against righties, they've actually been pretty good. Now, am I
Whoa,
stacking
whoa,
them?
whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold up. They've been better of late, but let's not give them the good tag.
They've been pretty solid for what you expect of the Braves. When I think of the Braves, I think of, okay, they're getting one hit tonight. Like that's what I envision of the Braves, and that's what they kind of were the first 2 months of the year. And then Freddie Freeman's really gotten it going here against righties. So, no,
I still don't think they're a good offense. No.
they're not a
Yes,
good offense,
they've
but
definitely.
they're not the easy, obvious, like smack dab, okay, I'm targeting them regardless of who the pitcher is anymore.
No, no, definitely not. And I think you can make that case for a couple other teams as well. I mean, yeah, I mean, you're looking at the Braves. They don't strike out a ton. They got four lefties to start the lineup with. For me, I mean, I just think Kluber, the Braves offense. I'm not making comparisons to the Angels because obviously the Angels are a better offense. But you take Mike Trout out of that lineup, they're pretty close to the Braves.
Yeah.
And I think Kluber can have that big upside because I think you look at the strikeout rates between those two teams, very similar. I mean, they're both very low.
Yeah, but Kluber hasn't been perfect this year either. I
No, he's
mean,
definitely not a lock.
so I just think there are guys literally half his price that are pretty reasonable. So um he is a potential cash game arm. If you want some high floor um pitchers, then I think he's at the top of the list. Matt Whistler really cheap. I'm not saying he's a great play, but that is really cheap for him. It's not a great matchup against the Indians. Obviously they're relatively strong against righties, but I actually do think that's a decent matchup for him at his price.
Yeah, yeah. The Indians' offense for me is just way too strong right now. I mean, looking at the last 2 weeks of play, I mean, second in WOBA, I mean, they are right behind the Rockies, who have played the majority of the games against weak pitching. And for me, this Indians' offense is just a complete stay away for opposing pitchers. And um, as you mentioned, I just think there are other options as far as guys like Giolito in that price range. As far as
Again, I'm not saying it's a good it's a good matchup, but at 5,400, I mean that's nothing.
yeah, but I'd rather take Ubaldo at 4.8 and take that risk against the
Okay,
Padres.
yes, but everyone else mute every other pitcher out of the slate and just look at Whistler at 5,400.
I would not play it. I would not play the slate at all.
Okay.
I just think he gets teed off on. The Indians' offense is way too strong right now.
All right.
Next game here, you got the Cubs and Reds. John Lester versus John Lamb. 8.5 over under. Cubs minus 240 favorites, and you're looking at Lester, big favorite here. I'm not really a fan of his tonight. Hitters ballpark. The guy really can't hold runners on. That's my big issue when he faces the Reds. You got some guys that can run on him, and they've done that in the past. He hasn't really been excellent against the Reds since coming over to the Cubs. So for me, at the price tag, I think there are just kind of better options around him.
Are you talking about Lester?
Yeah.
Really? Wow, that's bold. I like him. I actually think this is a pretty decent matchup. I don't, other than Duvall, who are you really worried about in that Reds lineup?
Oh, I don't think it's a bad matchup for him. My one thing is, I mean, he allows, a handful of base runners. They're going to run on him all day. We've seen it before in the past with the Reds, and I do think they kind of chug along and get a couple runs off of them. Is a win and a quality start there? Yeah, definitely. But at that price tag, I just rather kind of go with other guys who I think are going to be a little bit more quality, and you can even get them at a little bit more of a discount.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. I do think he is a decent tournament play, but yeah, in cash, I think you just probably bump up to Kluber if you're
Yeah,
gonna pay up.
yeah. And I mean, FanDuel Kluber's 300 cheaper, so
Yeah.
I just think the pricing tiers as far as guys. It's not that I don't like Lester. I just think I like the guys around him at their prices a little bit better.
Right, and obviously Lester coming off a few rocky starts that makes you kind of uncomfortable using him in the first place. So definitely got to keep that in account.
Yeah, I mean, he's been solid this year, and obviously the strikeout rate's been good. And the Reds really aren't great against lefties. I mean, 23rd in the league, but they are better at home. Summer night there in Cincinnati, I think you kind of look and be like, okay, it's not the most perfect spot, but I think there's other guys that just have that better matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lamb on the other side, I mean,
No,
definitely not looking at him. I mean, yes, it's lefty on lefty for a lot of those Cubs guys, but they actually hit lefties really well. So I'm staying away.
for sure.
Next game here, you have the Red Sox and Rays. Rick Porcello versus Chris Archer. Boston minus 105 favorites, 7.5 over under. Archer has been really up and down this season. And against this Red Sox team, I can't really see using him because even in his home starts of late, he really hasn't been too great. And of course he does pitch better at home, but it's a stay away situation.
Yeah, I'm not really looking at him. I just think there's some solid value on tonight's slate, so no need to force it with him. Obviously, Red Sox are slumping, but they're more like a hibernating bear right now. I think any night they can really go off for 10 runs, especially against an Archer who is a little home run prone. So not looking at him. I'm not really into Porcello either. He needs to gain my trust before I actually start using him again. Obviously the talent's there, but something's just been a little off this year. Decent upside, but I'm not really trusting him yet.
Yeah, it's obviously, and I don't like the price tag. 10-3 is just really expensive for me.
Mm-hmm. For what he's done this year, it's really expensive.
Yeah, in FanDuel, I don't mind. I mean, 8,400 is a little bit more reasonable, and you can make a case for him just because the Rays' offense is really strikeout prone against righties. 25%, they're 24th in WOBA, a decent pitcher's park there in Tropicana. So FanDuel, he's a playable GPP option. DraftKings, I'm not touching him.
Right.
So next one here, you got the Twins and the White Sox. Kyle Gibson versus Jose Quintana. Chicago minus 164 favorites. Over under of 8.5. You look at this Twins team, I mean, they've been a little bit better of late. Still not, still strikeout prone. I like Quintana quite a bit at his price tag. I think a win's there. I think the strikeout upside is there. I mean, you just look at this Twins offense against lefties. I mean, they really haven't been great this year. 24.5% strikeout rate. So Quintana for me has that upside on tonight's slate.
Yeah, and on DK at least, you got to go Quintana over Porcello. I just like this matchup for him, and against lefties, the Twins really are a weaker offense. So, yeah, you do like that. He's going to get some run support, so chance of a win on FanDuel pretty solid there. So, definitely like that matchup for Quintana.
Yeah, and he's been solid this season, and he keeps the ball in the park, 0.55 wins per nine this year, 2.95 FIP. So been solid. I mean, decent 23% strikeout rate. Kind of everything kind of lines up for what you like there.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, Gibson, you're not touching him.
No, definitely not. It's just, the White Sox offense isn't great, but Kyle Gibson's worse.
yeah, definitely.
Dodgers Brewers, Julio Urias versus Chase Anderson. Over under of 9 here. It's in Miller Park. Dodgers minus 137 favorites. You're a big Urias fan.
I think we all are. I think we all are, sure. Right?
Yeah, but you have like ordered the authentic $300 Urias jersey. Like you're ready to go. You're gonna hang it up in the back. Travel around to different stadiums and see him.
At the very least, I'm excited about his chances tonight. You just look at his strikeout rate, especially against lefties. He's just killing it right now. They haven't given him the full, like, all right, you can go 7 today. They just won't let him go past sort of 6 innings. So that's still unfortunate with the pitch count. But again, we're seeing him get 7 or 8 strikeouts an outing in 5 innings. So I think that there is not a ton of upside, but I think he can get into that 20 to 25 point range with a win here.
Yeah, I mean, which is very solid for the price tag. I mean, 24% strikeout rate from the Brewers against lefties this year. And as you mentioned, Urias, I mean, strikeout rate's been phenomenal. 10% swinging strike rate, 30% K percentage. So um, different ballpark. For me, he's just a GPP option. Are you kind of leaning towards just
Yeah,
tournaments too?
yeah, yeah, just tournaments. But I do like the potential there in the tournament.
Yeah, I do too. And you look, I mean, one of the other qualities that he has is he allows you some salary relief to get some other kind of hitters in too.
Mhm.
And Chase Anderson on the other side, I mean, blew up against the Dodgers in his last start. I mean, we know his floor, 5,700. He's a guy, I mean, he's actually pitched better at home, but he's a guy who's not on my radar.
No, not really. I mean, again, that's a good price, but I don't think we're targeting him against this lefty heavy Dodgers lineup. That's a tough matchup for him.
Yeah, definitely. Cardinals and Royals, Michael Walker versus Donald Ventura, two guys who have been quality arms in the past, but this season it's been a
Mm.
different story. And
Mhm.
8.5 over under, I think this is actually a game where offense you can actually take a look at as kind of some value and some contrarian pivots.
Yeah, definitely. This Royals team isn't a good matchup for Waka. So while he's been sort of stabilizing over the last week or so, um, I'm not trusting it tonight.
No, and Ventura on the other side, I mean, Cardinals fourth against right-handed pitching. He's been far from solid. And look at this Cardinals team. I mean, good offense, patient offense at times, and I think Ventura is going to struggle again here.
Mhm.
Next one here, you got the Blue Jays and Rockies. Jay Havers, Eddie Butler. Feel like anyone here?
No, not really. I think we can move on. I mean, what's a 12? What's a 12 over under, you know?
Yeah, I mean, where's the upside in that?
I will say, obviously, Donaldson didn't pay off last night and probably kept you off the cash line, honestly. But I think we can go right back to him tonight. I don't have any fear of him sort of busting again tonight. So expensive, but worth it for sure. Same with Encarnacion. I'm not worried about it at all.
No, Eddie Butler's definitely got a target. And now day two in cores, you're looking at these Toronto bats pretty heavily.
Yeah.
Next one here, you get the Phillies and Diamondbacks. Jared Eichhoff or Zach Greinke over under of 8. Arizona minus
Mm,
200 favorites. Greinke priced down a little bit as far as on DraftKings, 10-6. Really nice price tag. I mean, obviously, coming off a bad start against Coors, but that's going to happen.
yeah.
And you look at him. I mean, yes, at home this season he has been great, but he's starting to figure things out at Chase Field. I mean, you look at his last two starts there against the Dodgers and Rays. Obviously, two bad offenses, but he's going to get another bad offense at home. And for me, definitely playable in all formats.
Yeah, absolutely playable. I like him, especially at his price. I think he's borderline cash for me. He's another guy in that 10K range on DK that I really like. So it's not killing you. I like the matchup against the Phillies. Should get quite a few strikeouts here. So pretty solid all around play for Greinke tonight.
Yeah, and you look at this Phillies offense. I mean, 28th in WOBA, 21% strikeout rate. And you look, I mean, obviously Chase Field's a decent hitter's park, but for me, I mean, I just think a win's a lock. And even if he gives up 2 or 3 earned runs, I think there is as you mentioned, decent strikeout upside, and obviously the win's going to factor. So for me, he's kind of that guy that was referencing earlier that kind of takes Lester out of play up top.
Right. Definitely agree there.
So. And Nykoff on the other side, I mean, for me, not really looking at him. Price tag's still a little bit higher than you'd like to even take a chance on. He is good against right-handers, but overall struggles on the road, and I think he'll struggle tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Next one here, you got the Astros and Angels. Scott Feldman versus Tim Lincecum. Houston minus 130 favorites, 8.5 over under. Neither of these guys are kind of worthy of my attention.
No, maybe Tim Lincecum from 5 years ago, but not right now. So yeah, I'm not buying either of these guys. I just think there's tons of good options out there. So no need to like scrounge up something, like it's a 5 gamer.
Yeah, definitely. And Pirates and Mariners here. The next one, you got John Neese versus Hashi Iwakuma. Seattle minus 139 favorites, over under of 8. Hisashi Okuma at
Yeah.
6,800, that's intriguing for me. I mean, obviously, it hasn't been great this year, but in the right matchup, I think he's serviceable. And you look at this Pirates team, I mean, last 2 weeks, 29th in WOBA, 27% strikeout rate. So, they're a team to really target right now as far as being in a funk. And I just think Safeco wise, I don't mind Iwakuma at 6,800.
You want to just pass over this game and like every time you like try to go by, it's like something catches your eye. Like, okay, okay. All right, Iwakuma. Okay, yep. All right. Yeah, no, he's a fine tournament play. I think I could see him getting 20 to 25 today, and obviously that's all you need out of 68 on DK. So yeah, definitely intriguing. Not my first option, but you have to respect sort of the potential there for him for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And you look on FanDuel, he's not in play for me because Quintana at 88. I'll even take a Rick Porcello at 84 before him. And then obviously all those cheaper guys that we talked about, like
Mm-hmm.
Urias. So, he's just more kind of in that play as far as DraftKings goes.
Right.
And John Neeson on the other side, I mean, I'm just staying away from the Seattle offense for the most part.
Yeah, no need. I don't think there's any need to do that tonight. Don't do that to yourself. That's just a lot of pain in your future if you're starting John Neese.
Yeah, no, definitely. And moving on to the next one here at the Orioles and Padres, Ubaldo Jimenez versus
Mm.
Eric Johnson, 8.5 over under, Baltimore minus 143 favorites.
So the question is, do you start bad players in good matchups?
It's definitely a GPP like for me, man. I mean, I was actually picking on Ubaldo in the last start, and maybe I'll do it again tonight. But 4,800 on a core slate against the Padres
No.
and Petco
Yeah.
is intriguing.
Yeah. Our optimizer loves him. The cafe value loves him. So I I was crossing him off, and you guys made me uncross him. So I get the appeal, especially on this type of slate. You want to be able to fit in those high end bats, especially like the Blue Jays tonight. So yeah, I get it. I'm probably going to be doing it too. So we can run through that wall together, everyone.
Yeah, and there's nothing indicating this. Ubaldo Jimenez has been great this season, or good or average by any means. I mean, he's been bad. You look, I mean, Pitchers Park, a decent favorite at getting the win, and at the price tag, hell, he does give up 4 runs over 6 innings and gets 5 strikeouts. At that price tag, I mean, that's a great number. You're going to get a decent amount of options as far as hitters go. So he is a viable GPP option. I won't go that low in cash games, but for me, I mean, at that price, he's definitely playable.
Yeah, definitely in play.
FanDuel 6,600. I mean, obviously a one-off as far as a reasonable outing from him there still, and I think you can look at him on FanDuel as well, even in a single bullet.
It might be a little tougher sell for me on FD just because the one. I'd imagine because of all the good possibilities, I'd imagine it's going to be tough for him to sort of stay afloat versus all those other strong options. But in two pitcher sites, I definitely like him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a higher risk because it's your only pitching option, and
Right.
4,800 is obviously an easier price tag to accommodate as far as having a blow up. For me, I mean, FanDuel, he leaves you with about 3,600 left over, so I think that is a good way to start on kind of a core slate there.
Definitely.
Outside of that, I mean, obviously Johnson's not really going to be a target there. I actually think the Baltimore offense is kind of a sneaky stack even at Petco.
Yeah, especially on tonight. I don't think anyone's going to be looking. I mean, there's going to be ownership there, but not like most nights it would be.
No, definitely not. And last game of the night here, we got the A's and Giants. Kendall Graven versus Suarez. Over under of 8. San Francisco minus 149 favorites. Not really looking at either of these two arms.
Yeah.
On a full game slate, there's no really appeal for me.
Let's just say when I go to Fangraphs and I like check Wobas and all that, it seems like whenever Graveman's on a slate, he's always at the top for whatever research I'm doing. So yeah, I think I'm fading him, and I'm not really touching Suarez either against the A's, the sneaky A's.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about the A's kind of beating up on some Arja there last night.
It was like It really could have gone either way. I mean, I think 5 out of 10 times Samardzija puts up a decent start there. But yeah, the A's just kind of got to him, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish I would have listened to you a little bit more there. I
Yeah.
had a decent amount of margin as far as DraftKings last night, and
Yeah.
you know, I'll take that
Whatever.
0.50 out, that 50-cent piece that he got me, and I'll go to the bank.
Get him in pennies for sure.
That's going to wrap things up here with the pitcher nail down. Be sure to check out DaveFantasyCafe.com for all great tools and content.